Hello friends, in the last video, people has asked कि let's have make one video for how to write the investigation report. So now today I came with this new video, how to write the investigation report. Let's begin. Friends, let's start with my introduction. Myself, Rishabh Jain. I am a Master of Science from Government Engineering College, Jabalpur. I have more than 20 years of experience with different pharmaceutical company as a quality professional. I work in the MNCs as well as Indian operated company. I have experience of different auditory regulatory agency, including USFDA, MHRA. I face lot of investigators. I learn with them. When you start this video, please do not forget to subscribe the video. If you find this video is really meaningful, really helpful to us, please share to your friends and please subscribe the channel so it can be help for others also. Dear friend, let's understand what is the important elements when you are writing one investigation report, and this all the element we will understand in the coming slides. First is problem statement, and second is scope of the investigation, then what is the investigation findings, then analyzing the data. After that you have to be root cause analysis is important, then you have to be do the risk and impact assessment, then CAPA and effectiveness monitoring, then conclusion of the complete report. And please do not forget to make the executive summary. The executive summary is complete report extract, and it will be not more than two pages. It has to be discussed in the coming slides. So friends, to understand how to write the investigation report, I have mentioned here one case study. This case study is for out of specification. Aryan Jain has analyzed 5 batches of product X for assay test, and out of 5 batches, 1 batch results showing higher side and not complying to specification. During investigation, it was identified the second dilution done wrong. 20 ml volumetric flask has taken instead of 25 ml volumetric. So friends, let's discuss first element of writing the investigation, that is problem statement. The problem statement should be clear. It means it should be short, accurate and understandable by layman. So it is not required to be called the SME, what is written, and it should be explained by them. It should be when we read it, it should be very clear and understandable what was observed. So describe the requirement of specification and write the result which was observed, who had observed. So here you can write the name of the operator, name of the analyst. Here we are not blaming to somebody, just who was involved in this investigation. We have to be write the name. When was observed, so date and time we have to be right. When occurred, when discovered, if different, like we have to be right 2 days. If it is occurred in another day and discovered in another day, you can write the shift also. It may be first shift, second shift, third shift, your general shift. Where did it happen? It happened in the engineering, QC, manufacturing. So which area it is happen? What is the equipment? Like it is a compression machine, where it is you are blending, where it is happen, and what is the step. So there will be different step. So we have to be right in which step it is happen. Give facts. We have to be right the facts, really what is happen. Don't be right the so much of story here. Do not jump to the root cause. That only come after conducting the investigation. Somebody is writing the problem statement also, they are writing what is the root cause here. No, we should not write the root cause. Now let's have discuss. We have write one case study here. So as per case study, now how to write the problem statement. So during the analysis, during the review, that you can write. So during the analysis of assay test by HPLC, so you can write the HPLC, what is the number of HPLC of the product, you can write the name of the product, you can write the product code, then you can write here the name of the analyst, and you can write what was the observation. So if we can say, for example, the observation is 106.5%, again the specification is 95 to 105. Then you can write the specification number with version number, write the name of analyst who has observed this, name of the analyst. You can write the his employee number also, because in the lab there will be two same name analysts will be there. Then you can write the date, what was happened, it may be 21st August, and what is the shift. So the complete information has to be come. So now the second element is scope. So we have to be right here, scope of the investigation. So the investigation to be carried out limiting to the batch number under investigation or other batch of same product. Now in this case, we have analyzed the 5 batches of the assay. Initial state you can write, we have to be investigate for all the 5 batches, because you don't know what is the root cause. So here for the scope, investigation of the OS batch as well as other 4 batches which is analyzed in the same sequence. Has it happened before? So the same OS is happened before. Yeah, in the same product, another OS is also there here, not with the same root cause like the assay test giving the higher result, but what was the OS? You can write the detail here. Then if you want to be write something that is not a scope here, you can write very clearly key for this investigation, this is not in the scope. So if your investigation for the other abnormality, you were right here what is the investigation report number, because you are not investing the same here. So you can write the where your investigation, the investigation report number. After the scope, the next element for writing the investigation report, what is your investigation finding? So in the investigation finding, for the finding of the investigation, if you use any tool, you can define here what tool you have used. Somebody is using FMEA, failure mode and effect analysis. You can describe here. If somebody is using cause and effect diagram, yeah, that is also called push and bond diagram, yeah, Ishikawa diagram, you can define here. If somebody is using 5 why analysis, why, so you can define here. And then fault and tree diagram. So what tool you have used, you can define here. With using this tool, how to be reached to the assignable cause, that has to be defined very clear. Like in our case, if we are using push and bend diagram, so they have different branches. In the branch, you can write man, material, method and machine. So you have to be go at each and every step, then you have to be conclude what is your assignable exam. So continue to element investigation finding. Define the finding during review of executed document, that is analytical data, BMR, BPR, instrument calibration, qualification data, personal training, interview of involved person. For example, in our case, we have to review analytical data because it's out of specification. Then in our case, we have to review the training of the person, like RNG and training has to be reviewed here. Then HPLC, which is involved, we have to review the calibration and qualification of the HPLC. Define the observation and make the inference. Like in our case, we have checked material, machine and method. So these 3 we can write all are ruled out, because in our case method is okay, machine is okay, material which used for the analysis is okay. So all 3 are ruled out. We have to be write very clear inference. Define the outcome of the experiment plan based on the hypothesis and draw the conclusion. In our case, very obvious error, so we have not did any hypothesis. If you are doing the hypothesis, each and every hypothesis you did it, you can write what is the result you got. Then you have to conclude it is ruled out. Here you found the root cause during the hypothesis study. Reference has to be given all the protocol review document and use all the instrument, equipment, chemical, software. Like in our case, we have to write the what chemical we have used, what is the batch number of the chemical, what is the brand of the chemical, what instrument like HPLC number, and when calibration is done, like what software we have used. So the reference has to be given all the protocol review document and use all the instrument, equipment, chemical, software, etc. Photograph evidence to be added wherever required. In our case, it is very important to be add the photograph because the different volumetric solution, different volumetric flask has used. So the here use 20 ml as well as 25 ml volumetric flask. So both the photograph has to be taken and attached as evidence during the analysis. The cause is due to use of the different volumetric flask as they are the look like same. So the photograph is very important. So next element is analyzing the data. It is very important in your investigation report. You to specify the generated data for this product, like process validation data. You can specify what was the batch number which was done for the process validation. You can write what was the outcome. Then past history of OS and deviation. Yeah, this is an isolated event. So you can write there any past history of the deviation in OS. You to write here. Yeah, you can write yes, this is happened the first time. It is isolated event. Before that there is no OS, no incident, no deviation for this product. API data also review. It will give the confidence, like you can write CPK, CPP value. You can write what is the sigma value of this product. It will give the confidence the product is rugged and it is the product is continuing compliant to the specification with a very good range. So you can write here detail of APR also. Product trend data, yes, you can write the product trend data also. Stability data also give the confidence, like in the initial stage, like T0, then T1 stage, then after the expiry, during the expiry, if you did the stability data before, after 1 year after expiry, you can write the stability data. For the complete stability, you can show what is the trend of the product. Analytical method validation data including degradation study. Some cases is very important where you have to be find the out of specification in the impurity. So you have to be check the degradation study. So that all. So that are all important. Now the next element is root cause analysis. So based on the investigation finding, we have to be conclude the root cause. Define the potential root cause. If the potential root cause is not identified, you can define the most probable root cause. Explain what you explored and how you arrived at the conclusion. So here you to explain what investigation you did, and based on the investigation what root cause is identified. Yeah, what most probable root cause is identified. For in our case, like when we did the case study, we identified the wrong volumetric flask is identified. In our case, the root cause is wrong volumetric flask is used by the analyst. Why? Because all are the look like same. So this root cause analysis you have to very rightly write and specify here. Specify the reanalysis data. Like in our case, we case study, the assignable cause is using the wrong volumetric flask. So you have to be use the correct volumetric flask. Do the reanalysis. Now, how much reanalysis has to be done? It will be triplicate, it may be duplicate, it may be two analysis in triplicate. That is defined in the OS SOP, and based on the OS SOP you can do it. But somewhere you didn't find the assignable cause. Yeah, somewhere you find the assignable cause in the manufacturing investigation where that will directly impact in the product. So in such cases, reanalysis data will not support. However, you have to do the reanalysis to prove it your product is okay. The second case, you didn't find any assignable cause, a probable assignable cause based on lot of investigation, and you did the reanalysis in the triplicate by two analysts and your batch is comply. It is recommended in such case where you didn't find the assignable cause, please do not supply the batch in the market. Please do not distribute the batch in the market. That is requirement as per the current FDA. It's not given in the FDA guideline, but there was some 483 which is mentioned. Without root cause, the analysis done in the triplicate and it is passing the batch as supply to the market. Next element is risk and impact assessment. So you have already identified the root cause. You did the reanalysis. So before the releasing of the batch, you have to do the risk and impact assessment. So define the impact on batch. If it is passing, like in our case, as this assignable cause is very clear, and you did the analysis and it is passes, so there is no impact on the batch. Then in our case, define the impact on other batches of same product if any. So there is no impact on other batches analyzed in the same sequence, because this is related to be one batch where the wrong flask is used. In our cases, there is no impact also. If batch is already distributed in the market, define the FAR document, field alert document which is submitted to FDA, that has to be clearly defined here. If you put some follow-up FAR also, because your investigation is delayed, then you have to be defined here details for the FAR. Define the batch disposition decision based on the risk assessment, like in our case which we discussed. There is no risk, and we have to be right, there is no risk, and the batch has to be distributed to the market. So batch disposition decision has to be part of the investigation report. Define the detail of recall. If you found a stability study, during the stability study find the assignable cause batch is failing, then you, if you putting the FAR and you are recalling that all the details. The next element of the investigation report is CAPA, corrective and preventive action. So assignable cause is identified. You did the reanalysis. Now what corrective and preventive action is to be taken? So define the corrective and preventive action. Define the effectiveness monitoring schedule for corrective and preventive action. Let's have example for our case. What is the corrective action in our case? The our case corrective action has to be defined like look like same volumetric flask has to be identified and has to be marked in such a way. So if the analyst is doing the analysis, it can be identified very easily. So all the glassware like look like in 200 ml, 250 ml, 20 ml, 25 ml has to be marked separately. So this is the corrective action in our case. The preventive action is we have to be incorporate in the standard operating procedure. If in future any glassware has to be received in the lab, before it has to be issued for the routine analysis, it should be marked properly. So occurrence of the same error has to be avoided, has to be eliminated. When if you put it some CAPA, then the effectiveness monitoring also we have to be scheduled, like after 3 months, 2 months, 6 months, we have to be say the effectiveness monitoring for the 1 year. After 3 years, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, if you sign the CAPA is effective, then you can close your effectiveness monitoring also. Write the proper conclusion of the report. What was the your finding, impact assessment and batch disposition decision. So the conclusion is also very important and it should be part of the report. Dear friend, after the conclusion, your investigation report is already completed. Now the executive summary, because in the investigation report, when you are writing the investigation, it will be 30 pages, 35 pages, because you have to be write each and every element, each and every event. Now we have to be made one executive summary report. The executive summary report should be not more than 2 pages. The requirement of the executive summary, when auditor will come, you can show him the executive summary report. He has to review the executive summary and he has to be understand the complete flow of the OS investigation. Then he will not go to review again 35 pages of investigation report. He can understand with the 2 pages only. So the executive summary report should be content, problem statement, then investigation finding, batch disposition decision, CAPA taken. So this has to be all the part of the executive summary report. It should be defined very systematic, it's very clearly. So executive summary is also very important. Friend, I hope you understand how to write the investigation report, what is the element has to be required, and each and every element which we have discussed here. If you have any question, you can connect me. Thanks to watching the video. Thanks a lot.